Hello to another one of my videos. Tonight or today we have a small collection of chilling short stories to share. Joining me in our telling tales is a reoccurring guest, ECB Films aka Kumo.
Hello, Miss C. Benavi, and thanks for having me back.
Nice to have you back, and it's lovely to be here in Japan!
In Tokyo.
Yeah, we would have been cool if we did this during the typhoon, but the winds got crazy. We're fine though.
Too scary for our scary stories to compete with that.
Yeah. So we each wrote 2 short stories, and we're going to take turns reading them and then have casual chats about them in between.
Yeah.
So do you want to go first or?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okie doke.
Okay. So I have a story about a woman who is a businesswoman, and she is very focused on her work and is constantly in the office, constantly looks tired, doesn't really have time for herself, raggedy clothes, really slumpy looking clothes, and it's obviously she doesn't really care about what people think about her as long as she's doing good work in the office and everything. So then one day she goes to visit her family, and it's nothing really that she particularly enjoys, because she goes there and the first thing she gets is criticism from her family and from her quote-unquote friends. So many people just keep asking her stuff like, oh, how come you don't have a boyfriend? Why aren't you married yet? Where's your house? Where's your car? Why are you working so hard? Why do you dress like that? Why is your hair like that? Criticism after criticism. And there's no way that she could explain herself except for just being like, yeah, I know. But especially it's mostly stems from her mom. Her mom has usually nothing good to say to her when they see her again. Well, long time. Did you get a little fatter? Is that why you don't have a boyfriend or any friends? And what about your hair? Honey, how come you don't wear any makeup? Sweetie, why is your dress like that? Do you have to wear something so horrible? So then one day, after she goes home, she walks to this store, and then she finally sees a dress that she knows that her mom would love her to wear. So then she's like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to try this dress and see what everyone's talking about. I'm going to just try it on. And then she goes there and she puts on the dress, right? And she's looking in the mirror and she's just like, okay, this is not comfortable. How am I supposed to move in this? This color is just not my thing. And I need to hurry up and change. This is ridiculous. But then, before she could change, she felt kind of like a tingle against her skin. Something like that would make all the hairs on your arm just stick up. And then she looks down and she sees a little small bug. So, of course, she just shoos it away. She's like, oh, this annoying little thing. And then she takes off the dress and then she goes out of the store empty-handed. She's like, oh, I can't believe I wasted my time with that. I could have been doing so many other things. And then she goes to her crosswalk and she looks around and she notices, like, well, there's not a lot of people. I wonder, where did the crowd go? She's like, okay, whatever. And then in the far distance, she hears a crash. She looks over and she sees all these cars just start crashing. She's like, oh my goodness, I hope everyone's okay. So she tries to pick up her phone and call for help, but lines are busy. She's like, what is going on? And she keeps going back home slowly. And then finally, she passes a place where they have television sets. And then all it's on is just the news and news of just people disappearing. Everyone is going away. What's going on? And she sees like Shibuya empty on a Saturday on the news feed. The whole planet just got deserted, it seems like. And then slowly, one by one, the TV stations start blacking out. everyone starts to disappear. And then right from the other side of the street, it looks like a huge black cloud is just approaching her. She's just like, what is going on? What is that black cloud? And then she feels that tingle again. So she looks at it. It's like, oh, stupid little fly thing. So she tries to smack it off again. And then she sees another one. And another. And another. And she notices that's not a black cloud coming towards her. It's just a cloud of bugs. And slowly, it comes closer and closer. And she notices they're all just mosquitoes. So she starts running. And she's just like, can somebody help me? Somebody help me. But then the mosquitoes just start latching onto her and sucking her blood. Just like poisonous little things. And then they grab onto her arm and her legs, and she starts hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. And she's like, I just have to go inside somewhere. I have to go inside, and then I'll be safe. But what she starts to notice is that these mosquitoes also have voices. And these mosquitoes start to say, don't hurt me, please. I'm just hungry. Don't hurt me. I'm sorry. And then slowly, she notices that some of those people were some of those quote-unquote friends and family that she had. And they were like saying her name. And they were like, oh, Kano, please don't hurt me. I remember when you were so young. Don't hurt me. It's me, your dad. It's me, your cousin. It's me. Don't hurt me, please. I'm so hungry. Just let me stay here. And then she just starts freaking out. So then she stops swiping them and she looks at them. She's like, what's going on? And then slowly and surely, they just start to devour her whole body. And she's still kind of fighting at the end. But then the last mosquito that she fights off, turns out it's going to be her mom saying, oh, honey, please don't kill me. I just want to be with you. And then she says, okay, Mom. And the mosquitoes devour her. Is it cool?
Yeah, that was creepy with the little bugs at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was a cool thing because I hate mosquitoes.
Yeah.
But I don't want to kill anything. So I always feel like they're always saying that to me.
Yeah.
Please don't kill me. Oh, that's it.
I guess we'll start on my story now, if we're done. Yeah. Okay, here's the next story. It was a little after finals.
It's scary already.
Andre was in his third year of college. Waiting for the results ate away his tired mind as he drifted off to sleep that night. His worried mind lazily woke him in and out of slumber when it happened. His vision was hazy, his limbs felt limp and would sink to the bed whenever he tried to move. His body laid motionless with a tingling sensation coursing through. He glanced around to try and see if his arms can move, but catches the gaze of a figure looming over his shoulder. It was barely visible enough to Andre that he could make out the shape of the massive tall figure with a tendril-like mane and a head of a jackal. It stared at him motionless, but its white eyes widened as they meet each other's gaze. The jackal-headed figure never blinked, but began to creep slowly towards Andre's face. Andre's heart was racing. His mind struggles to force his body to somehow move, but he remained stagnant in his bed. He saw its limbs transition out of his body and hauntingly set its clawed hands by Andre's shoulders. As it leans closer, its claws skitters towards Andre's face inch by inch. But he couldn't do anything, not even shut his lazily opened eyes. He lay helpless below the creature's advances. The tip of his talons stretched carefully to his cheekbone. The very tip barely grazes his skin when he finally jolts awake. Baffled and shaken, Andre hesitantly scans his room for any signs of movement, but the dark room was motionless. Moments passed, then an hour. He remembers learning about sleep paralysis in his psychology class. How people freeze up and see figures in their trapped vessels. There's even reportings that people feel a pressure on their chest, as though someone or something was sitting on them. But even hours after his initial episode, he could still feel the faint touch of the menacing figure's claw on his cheek. Yee.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wish we knew more about the creature, though.
Yeah, the first draft had it about a relationship that, like, between them. Like, here, I'll read the first paragraph. Andre was never really alone in his life. Ever since he was a child, there was always someone there, but it wasn't a person. However, he never saw the presence, but it'd do things like move things around, make soft thuds across the floor, small things that even he sometimes dismissed as simple mishaps of the mind. Still, there was a sense of respective boundaries. It never fully made itself known, and Andre never fully acknowledged it. It felt as though the two silently agreed to not disturb each other's personal space.
Ooh,
And then it like ended with the sentence, the mutual sense of respect for boundaries was gone.
Oh, that's cooler. That's creepier. I like that one. Because then it's like, it's just starting to make its way to the other side.
Yeah, I think I'll work on that short story some more sometime. I don't know. All right, so what about you? It's your turn now.
Yeah. So the first thing you see, not the room, not the feet, but a huge, just massive globe in front of you. You don't see anything else. And that's what this woman sees every morning. Just a big shape on her stomach getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes she feels like it's going to be bigger than herself. So this woman is about 9-10 months pregnant or so. And she feels like she is just ready to give birth to the baby. And she's just very tired. But surprisingly, she doesn't feel like she's not getting too many weird symptoms that anyone like warned her about. She doesn't feel really sick. She doesn't feel like she needs to go to the doctor or anything. The baby doesn't move too much. Everything seems fine. The baby's growing. The only thing that she's surprised is that she doesn't feel. She doesn't feel excited. She doesn't feel really happy. In actuality, she seems really, really numb. To the point where she's even starting to think that maybe she doesn't even want to be a mom. But she pushes those thoughts aside and then just stays busy. She tries to clean the house, and you could tell they live in a really, really nice house. You see pictures of the husband who looks like an older gentleman, professional something. And you see her, she looks very young, but her smile just seems not 100% there in all the pictures. But while she's cleaning and doing all this other stuff, she notices that her husband left his briefcase, and she's like, well, how can he be working without this? So she takes the briefcase to his office, and then she talks to his secretary, and she's like, hey, my husband left this, where is he? And then the secretary says, well, he actually has the day off today. And then the wife is like, okay, I understand. That night, the husband comes home. She's sitting there at the dining room table, and then the husband's like, hi honey, I'm home from work. All she says is like, did you have a nice day? And he says, yeah, I did. Did you cook any food? And then she said, actually, I was really tired today, I couldn't do it. He goes, oh, okay, I'll just order something. Have a good night. Goes up the stairs. She says good night, knowing full well of what he was doing when he was quote unquote at work. So then they go to the doctor together over the weekend, and then the doctor says, oh, your baby looks really healthy. Here's some pictures of the baby. And you see the baby, and the husband immediately just smiles and starts glowing. So, oh, look how beautiful her baby is. And then she just keeps thinking, okay, time to smile. And then she smiles and goes, wow, how great, look at that. And then she's like, okay, picture is gone. You can stop smiling. And then the doctor says, actually, can I talk to the wife for a little bit? And then the husband's like, sure. Can I have the pictures? And then he takes the pictures and he's just smiling and looking at them as he leaves. He's very happy to have the baby. And then so the wife sits down and he's like, now, can you tell me, what exactly is going on right now? Oh, nothing. And the doctor says, see, I noticed that. It's okay if you don't feel like you're not connecting yet. That's totally normal. A lot of women feel like that. And she's like, oh no, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. But that doesn't fool the doctor. So the doctor says, if you feel like you're not happy or you need something different, you have to talk to somebody. You have to tell me that you're not happy. But then she keeps denying, like, oh, no, it's okay. It'll be fine. So then they go home together. And then the husband is like, oh, hey, honey, I just got a call from work. I have to go. I'm going to be working late tonight. And then she's like, but it's Saturday night. And we just got home. He was like, I know, but I have to work. I'm sorry. I'll see you tomorrow, Sunday. And then she's like, okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. And then he before he leaves the door, he's like, oh, and when I come home, I'll be hungry. Just remember. She's like, okay. So he leaves, and then the night she's just all by herself with the little baby inside her. But then, for the first time, she sees her stomach move, like a kick or something. And then she thinks like, oh, finally, something's going on. So then she goes to the bathroom to try to look in the mirror and see a better angle. And then she's like waiting and waiting, nothing happens. But then, oh, something else moved. Oh, there it goes. And she's like, oh wow, I'm actually like, this is really cool. So she gets excited and she starts smiling a little bit. And she's like, oh, now I get what it kind of means. All this like excitement for the baby and everything. And then she sees another beat. She's like, oh, there goes another kick. And then from the other side, another kick. She's like, wow, that was really, how did that happen so fast? And then more, another kick, another kick, another kick, kick. With a point where her body just seems to be crawling all over her stomach. And she just starts to feel scared and cold. And then suddenly she feels a light tingle down her, but in kind of a Z shape. So it's going, what is on my leg? What is on my leg? And then she feels another little tingle crawling down her leg, like. And then slowly, in the corner of her eye, she looks over, and it's gone. And then before she knows it, she looks up at the ceiling, and she sees one small little cockroach. And she was like, oh my gosh, we spent so much money on this house and on protecting this. How did that get in here? So she tries to reach down and grab her shoe, her slipper. But then when she attempts to look down, her legs are just covered in crawling cockroaches. And she looks higher and higher, and they see that the cockroaches aren't coming from the house, but they're coming from her. And so she starts to scream, but then when she screams, I'm out of her faster and faster. And then the whole house just starts, before you know it, crawling, creeping, everything covered in cockroaches. And then she starts to scream, but then they start to cover over her. And then slowly that scream turns into a laugh, and it just starts laughing and laughing. The next day, the husband comes home, and then he could tell from the outside the house looks like it's then in a flood, like it just looks rotten. So he's like, what in the world just happened? So he opens the door and it's just like the wood is already falling apart. It's just all rotten to the core. And he opens it and it doesn't even look like a house anymore. It looks like a totally complete, just like something from an alien movie. Everything, the whole, from floor to ceiling, just covered in grime. So then at first he gets scared. So first he screams out for his wife, like, where are you? Where are you? What's going on? Are you, what's happening? And then you just see her cooking in the kitchen in all this grime and all this filth. But then you notice that she's holding a baby or something wrapped in like a baby cloth. And then he's like, honey, what's going on? What is that? What's that? I don't know what's going on. And she's like, oh, honey, are you hungry? The baby's kind of hungry too. And then she turns to look at him. And the baby is this huge, gigantic cockroach. And then the cockroach goes towards the husband and eats him alive. The end.
That got creepy and weird at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. It still needs some work, but I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it is. It got crazy there at the end. How did that even happen in the first place? What the heck were the pictures look like? How does it look like a human baby, apparently?
Yeah.
Maybe this could be set in, like, the 60s or 70s when sonar was still new.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would be a cool, like, feel to the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me one more story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, it was late at night when I wrote this, so it's mostly just a stream of consciousness.
Oh, good.
In fact, it starts off with, this is just a stream of consciousness. Imagine, if you like, a cool, brisk evening. The sun is basically engulfed by the horizon. The dim full moon is an autumn orange, hanging low in the sky, big enough to make you think for a moment that is close enough to touch it. Where are we? In a park? A forest? It has a lot of trees, that's for sure. And a dirt path that you waltz through. There's no rush. Your belly is full. Or not. Maybe you're taking a shortcut to a nearby hot dog joint or a cafe. There's barely a soul out tonight. You might see a person or two every so often passing you by, and you ignore them, and they ignore you. There's no mean intention behind it, by all means. Y'all just caught up in your own world when you enter this place. It's been a while since you've seen anybody, though. How long have you been walking? Are you going in circles? How can you be if this path cuts straight through? It may curve and twist, but it always ends where it ends. It's quiet here, too. There isn't much noise other than your footsteps gently scraping on the dirt path. It's different here at night than it is in the day. You can see everything then. Now you can hardly make out the scattered shadows of the trees that surround you. Left, right, it doesn't matter where you look. The trees are so huddled together that not even the brightest fog lights can pierce through the seemingly thousands of trees and branches that gather around you like an ominous cult surrounding their shrine. But they dare not tempt fate to get any closer than they need to, in order to watch you. All around you is pitch black. Even the illuminating source of the meticulously placed lampposts dwindle away into the shadows. If it weren't for the path and the low orange moon that's barely tearing through the trees, you'd be in complete darkness. But the moon looks as though it's slowly drowning by the claws of the trees. That's it. That's the stream of consciousness.
I wouldn't call it horror or creepy, but
No, yeah.
more of a
Like an ambiance kind of thing.
yeah, like a dark ambiance.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't really a story. It was more just like consciousness.
Yeah.
But I want to tell more stories. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next year. Or maybe whenever.
Yeah.
It's my channel. No.
Yeah.
Become a scary podcast.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's end it here before this video gets too long. Thanks for joining me again, Kumo.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love scary stories. So let's keep telling each other scary stories.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Halloween only once.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Halloween every day.
All year, yeah.
All year long.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah. All right. We'll call it a night then. Bye.
Bye.